So you got no drainage to speak of, no real irrigation. I think you've got a hose pipe and a
Traveller.
Yeah. Okay. You're telling me that there's times where you're sometimes back here late at night just to switch the Traveller around so it can move in a different direction.
Yeah.
That commitment that you're showing has been recognised, I think, by the AOG over the last few years. I think 3 years on the trot, you've reached the final stages and been there on the shortlist and sat at the table. Not quite picked up an award yet.
No, not yet. Hopefully one day.
But you're obviously proud of what you've achieved there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive thing to be proud of, that people's recognising your work, and to have like a regular Monday to Friday, no weekends, regular money, in a charge hand role. No pressures really. Well, pressures of your job, but when you come home you can switch off, which you can't in this role. But no, opportunities like this don't come up every week, and a lot of people that's in these roles are in them 20, 25 years, and I just, we're ready for it. It was just right time.
You obviously love what you're doing. You mentioned pressure there. Quite often with televised sport, there comes an added pressure from the TV companies wanting the pitches to look so perfect that they look great on TV. Again, from what we've been chatting about, I don't think you feel that's a pressure from them. It's more a pressure for your own personal pride that you want it to look great. And you've got a TV game this week, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, we're on TV on Friday against Hull. Yeah, and it's it is a personal thing. People come down, and a couple that help out, and if they come and say, like Tony will come and go, oh, you've got to be happy with that. No, not really. Why? What's wrong with it? And now you just pick faults just because. Obviously in this industry you set your standards as high as you can, and you want it to look perfect every time, and there's one or two little areas that I know that I'm not happy with, or it could have looked better, and then you get one, the odd time when you're 100% happy with it, and you can't wait for people to see it, and which is a good part of the job. You're showing your work off basically, and it's nice to be recognised in the industry that people are actually taking a note in what you're doing.
When I was growing up, rugby league was a winter game. It's a summer sport now. You've been through that changeover, I guess, as a fan.
Yeah.
Have you seen that it's had an impact on the preparation and keeping the surface as it should be? Has it helped or has it hindered?
Well, personally, obviously, I wasn't involved in preparing fields then, but I've been and I've watched, and you can see footage of games from years ago, and to be honest, I'm glad I'm not doing that. I'm glad I'm not doing it then, because the tough times, and I know with this field from November till probably February, March, that it's a tough ask.
Right.
And when after a game I'll divot this, and sometimes it can take me 2 to 3 days to divot it, because I divot it on my own.
Right.
So it's only me that divots it. And to think now that if we played in winter and you're doing that all the time, and another thing is, if with us training on it and team running on it a lot, I might divot this field 4 or 5 times a week. Whereas if they trained anywhere else and just played here, you can get the field ready and divot it once, maybe once or twice, but you couldn't do it. It's like the full-time job divoting, and then from April onwards this dries up pretty quick.
Right.
So you could play on it, train on it, and it doesn't make too much mess, and then get a shower the following week or midweek after, when they're due for training, then you're back to square one. But it does even itself out a little bit, but I wouldn't like to think I were looking after them in a winter, when they played in the winter, I'll be honest.
So keep it in the summer.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any special requirements from your seed and your fertiliser regime here? I mean, what are the conditions you're looking at?
Well, a couple of years ago I researched to see what the best thing that we could do, and I had a chap on who we used to deal with when we were on the local authority, Robert Bone from Sheriff Amenity, and he used, when I first came here, he came one day and did me some soil testing. And it not been soil tested for a while, so we thought we'd get on the right track from day one, and he came up with this with a Marathon Sports Spring fertilizer, and I've used that ever since, and it's really good. It's chicken manure, it's organic, and it just seems to have worked wonders. I've tried a lot. Obviously, being in the trade 30 years, I've used quite a lot of different things, but it just seems to suit this field really well. But I've used the spring and summer, and then they brought the autumn and winter out, so I've used it in a full 12-month cycle for the last 3 years. But it just seems to, the little divot holes, it just seems to fill in. Density of the sward is really thick, and it gets more dense at like 30-40%. Holds green, and obviously with us not having an irrigation system to keep the fertiliser in, it lasts for 2 to 3 months.
Right. Okay.
So I can get longevity out of it. Obviously, it's cheaper to buy because I'm not having to buy as much.
Sure.
And then if I need to, I might do a little half of an application or one before the TV game just to give it a little bit of colour.
Bit of a boost. Okay. So how many times typically throughout a season are you?
I'm doing it probably about 3 times, and that's probably with an extra one. Probably 2. I can get away with 2, but I do an extra one just before if we get a couple of the fixtures. Sometimes you have double home games, back-to-back home games, and if we've got back-to-back home games, I'll do an application so it covers the 2, especially if one's on TV. So it looks its best on TV. But the autumn and winter one, then when I switch to the autumn and winter one, it seems to really thickened the root up, and the root mass is really tough because it used to come off in lumps.
Really?
And just slide, but now it's I can put it back. I'm not losing any surface.
So it's improved the root structure as well.
Yeah, before like when you're tackling an on floor and the foot marks used to come out,
right,
or just rip, but it seems to really toughen it up. So I'm really pleased with it.
So you're doing good stuff here. You've overcome some challenges. What would be the biggest challenge you've got here on an ongoing basis?
I would probably say pitch-wise.
Yeah.
I would say the drainage, but,
okay.
Because if we get a lot of rain through the winter, it does churn up quite a lot. But as I say, with the things that we've put in place and the systems we've got in place now, it does seem to be improving. I've just said that this morning. It just seems to be improving. For instance, this is the first time we've really divoted mixed, which
right.
is I think it's brilliant to say.
And we're at the business end of the season now, aren't we?
We're going into July, and I think I've just maybe used a bucket, 1 or 2 little buckets of divot mix
right.
and put in, and that's down to everything that we've done plus the Dennis, where I can just get it on and put the surface back after the game instead of having to wait for other people to come in and I might lose a day or 2. Now I can get the Dennis out straight in, put my surface back, brush it, so everything together is it's worked.
So it's
wonders.
not one individual item. It's
it's a combination
mix of those things that have overcome those challenges.
Yeah, a combination of everything, and the thing is with it, fertiliser that I've been using, it does a lovely. It gets it nice and thick and green, but it don't run away. I can cope. With if I can't get onto cut because of bad weather, I'll lift Dennis up and just tip it, go over it, get it back. It's not running away from me where like before it used to do. We might have to blow the surface off or rake it off. But now, for the last 18 months, it's 2 years, we seem to be getting into a nice routine now where everything's improving massively.
And if you look at the investments you've made, and significant investments at a club like this, probably buying the seed is a significant investment. But what's been the best investment you've made over the last few years since you've been here?
The Dennis.
And you got that when?
Country Mile. We got that I've had it a year now. Got it last June. It took me a year to get it.
Right, okay.
But it's just with perseverance and Steve, our CEO, I was just out there one day with the old mower and just said, look, it's not cutting and it's leaking, and he just said, leave it with me, and he came up trumps.
I think you were telling me because it leaked, it was doing more damage than good, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had an hydraulic, one of the main hydraulic pipes bust 3 days before the Sky game, and we just managed to top dress it and paint it basically just to hide it. And even though I know it was there, to be fair, the camera wise you couldn't really see it, but no, you don't really want that. And it's the thing is, you're a little bit anxious going out thinking, is it going to break? And I think we must have had 6 or 7 pipe busts in a short space of time as well, like in just a few months. So to get the Dennis, it's just peace of mind as well, not just quality.